Hello, bonjour, namaste, ni hao, and ohio everybody. What is going on? It is Galeriot here, and welcome back to the YouTube channel once again for another Danmachi video. And today we are going to be talking about the upcoming Danmachi Neowiz Gacha game, which is of course something a lot of people are looking forward to and expecting big things from. Well, it turns out that it most likely will not be releasing in 2024, and most likely it won't be releasing before March 2025. Now we're going to break it all down. I'm going to be explaining my reasoning behind it. We're going to be taking a look at Neowiz's investor reports, because that is exactly where we got this information from, and we'll be talking about whether or not it's a good idea or it's a bad idea. Now, of course, if you guys go on to enjoy this video, please be sure to leave a like down below, subscribe to the channel for more Danmachi content. We will be covering this game and all the other Danmachi related content as well on the channel, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below as well. Do you guys think that this is a good idea, bad idea? Do you guys think it should be releasing much earlier? Do you guys think that they need to just jump and release it as soon as possible? Let me know in the comments. I'm quite curious to see what you guys have to say down below. Now, for me, this is a bit of a difficult decision to make for both SB Creative and Neowiz, right? At the end of the day, releasing a game, I would prefer it takes its time, right? If it's not ready, it's not ready. You don't release it, in my personal opinion. But right now, SB Creative has been put into a bit of a difficult spot, basically, right? With Danmachi Memoria Freese hitting its end of service, right? Most likely to give way for this brand new gacha game, right? At the end of the day, because Gree is the owner and parent company of WFS, and they run games like Heaven Burns Red, they ran Danmemo as well, they run Slimy Isekai Memories, and so on and so forth, right? But the thing is, right, they are obviously stopping Danmemo most likely for this new upcoming game as well, right? More so than Dancro. A lot of people put blame on Dancro for Danmemo's death, but it was more so two reasons for Danmemo's death. One, Omori stepping back from making stories for Danmemo and helping them out as much as possible. He stopped doing that. Now it was on the developers to write stories, which they knew they wouldn't be able to provide the same level of stories as they could have if Omori had stayed on. And second of all, with the new Neowiz game coming out, which is in collaboration with Gree, by the way, this game that's coming up from Neowiz is in collaboration with Gree. With that as well, it's kind of like, well, why would we have Danmemo still carry on? You know, we could take the developers and put them into the this Neowiz Gacha game and help out with the development of that, and so that, you know, a lot of the Danmemo stuff, a lot of the things that made Danmemo can maybe transition over into this Neowiz Gacha game while being modernized and everything, making it look better and so on and so forth, right? That would have been, that is what we're expecting from it, at least, and that's the theory behind it, and the reason why Danmemo effectively died. It wasn't because of Dancro. Dancro is a completely different studio, but yeah. But the problem is Danmemo is dying. It's ending service on June 24th in Japan as well, so no revenue from there. It's game over. It's done and dusted. Cross Historia shut down last year. Danmachi Infinite Combat is a very old console game. Full End of Water and Light is an upcoming console game, but we don't know where it stands at this moment in time. And of course, if you haven't checked out my video from earlier today, we don't even know if it's going to be releasing this year, especially with the most recent announcement of the new Nintendo Switch successor, right? And then finally, with Danmachi Battle Chronicle, I mean, we already know the state it's in. And so SB Creative have been put into a bit of a pickle, because at the end of the day, when it comes to a franchise like Danmachi, like, Slime, and that time I reincarnated as a Slime, and so many other franchises, you need to have three pillars, right? You have your source material, your mangas, your light novels, whatever it may be. That is one pillar. Your second pillar is your anime, your, well, technically four pillars. You have your second sort of pillar, which is your anime, your visual, sort of like selling product, effectively. Your anime, movies, TV series, whatever you call it, right? That is your second pillar. Your third pillar is your, effectively your, sort of like, what's the word? Your products, your merchandise. There we go. God, that's the word. I almost forgot the word merchandise. Your merchandise, figures, card games, whatever it may be, right? Your physical products, right? That is your third pillar. And your final pillar is your games, right? Your games, and especially nowadays, games are so popular and so mainstream at this point that it is a very integral part of any franchise, right? And so Danmachi has been now put into a very big pickle where, and SB Creative indirectly as well as the production committee have been put into a very big pickle where none of the games are doing well, or they're dead basically, right? In the case of Infinite Combat, it's just old, so nobody's gonna really buy it unless it goes on sale or people buy it off of key shops, right? If you look at Danmemo, it's dead. Cross Historia dead. Aurora Absurda died like a few years ago. Battle Chronicle not doing well. Full End of Water and Light, don't know when it's releasing. And now Neowiz's Gacha game, which obviously would have been the hope to, you know, be the next big seller, of course, after Danmemo, is probably not coming out till 2025. And let's take a look at the investor reports, which you can, by the way, if you want to check out the investor reports for Neowiz and all these other companies, you just go over to their website, click on investors, and you can go to their earnings release, basically, right? So I immediately thought that this was going to be the case back when we got the final quarter reports in February, right? The final reports for that fiscal year, right? They showed their fiscal year 2024 pipeline, which did not include Danmachi's new gacha game. It wasn't part of the upcoming 2024 games. Now, they didn't specify anything that's going to be in 2025. By the way, fiscal year, if you guys don't know what a fiscal year is, it's not your January to January year. It is your March to March year. Companies and businesses, they start their earnings year on April 1st or at the end of March, and go until the end of March the following year. So in this case, this is a list of games that they're going to be working on or releasing, or DLC in the case of Lies of P, from March 2024 to March 2025. So in this situation, it seems like Danmachi is not happening in this fiscal year, right? And it was doubled down in the most recent financial year or most recent earnings result presentation from Neowiz for the first quarter of 2024 by confirming that this fiscal year will not have any Danmachi game. So they've even cut down on a lot of other games as well. It seems like Oh My Ann no longer part of the fiscal year here. It seems like Project IG is still a thing. Cats and Soup still a thing. This game I don't think has come out. I don't know if it has come out or not, but it's not there. So effectively they've cut it down as well, it seems like, right? They've cut it down now, and we're probably not gonna see Danmachi in the pipeline until maybe the second quarter or third quarter, where they'll talk about the rest of maybe the following year and so on and so forth. But this is basically evidence that we're not going to be getting the Neowiz Gacha game in 2025 or in 2024, sorry, or maybe even the early parts of 2025, it seems like. Now, this can be a good thing and a bad thing. Now, I think it's a good thing in the sense of, like, I would personally prefer they take their time with it, and also the fact that, well, I'd prefer if the gacha game releases during the second core of Danmachi Season 5. Now remember, the 5th season of Danmachi is coming up in October, right? The fall season of 2024. And it's probably going to be a 2-core thing, because they've called this the Goddess of Abundance arc. And I feel like that's only, in my opinion, based on what I know from the light novel, basically only volume 16 and a little bit of volume 17, and it's a 2 arc. The Danmachi season 5 is supposed to cover one big arc, right? And the volume 16 and 17 are only part of that arc at the start. It's pretty much the first third of the light novel. There's still a lot more to come in volumes 18 and the rest of volume 17 as well. So if that is the case, and if it's exactly like Danmachi season 4, where it was split into 2 cores, which ran from July 2022 to October 2022, and then the second part and the second half of the season went from Jan 2023 to March 2023, which was basically split up, and they had a break in between. If that is going to be the case here, then what we're going to see is the first core of Danmachi season 5 is going to go from October 2024 to January 2025, and then the second part will go from March 2025 to June or July 2025, which means there is a very good chance, and this is again reiterating it, is a very good chance that the game might launch, as I said, post the fiscal year of 2024, which means post March, which would mean that it would be in line with the second core. Now, of course, this is my theories and this is my thought process based on what little we know about season 5, and of course based on season 4 and all that jazz. A little bit of guesswork and potential, predictions as well. But I think it would work extremely well as well. And in that sense, it's a good thing, because that means, we're going to be getting the game during the peak of Danmachi Season 5, which would make it a fantastic timing for them to release the game alongside it, and it would sell extremely well accordingly, because you're going to get more people in the game because of obviously how well Season 5 will be. Well, again, this is me predicting and hoping JC Staff absolutely nails the shit out of that upcoming season, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, on the other side, it is a little bit frustrating and annoying in a way, right? For a lot of people, I think that, we're not gonna be getting a upcoming Neowiz Gacha game for the foreseeable future, at least in the next year at least, right? Because right now a lot of people are tired and bored and just frustrated with the situations that are happening in Danmachi Battle Chronicle, which is absolutely understandable. As somebody who's playing the game and creating content on the game, I absolutely understand that, right? And as much as they are trying to push for change and we are giving suggestions and stuff, right, it is going slowly. They're not doing it as fast as we'd hope they would potentially, right? And in this day and age, you can't go slow with updates, unfortunately, just because of how impatient people are. And that's not a knock against us, it's just how it is nowadays. And especially with, games like Genshin and Star Rail showcasing how you can get some insane updates every 6 weeks, right? It feels like, Battle Chronicle feels like a bit of a slap in the face in that sense. But again, you have to remember different studios, different capabilities, different thresholds. At the end of the day, you have to also give a little bit of leeway to them as well in that sense, right? But again, it feels annoying because at the same time, they're not also following the schedules and stuff like that. And I'm pretty sure SB Creative at this point is also kind of frustrated after the resounding success of Danmemo, right? Especially in its early years where it was just raking in the money. With how disappointing Danmachi Battle Chronicle has been, I hope it's been a little bit noticeable to them as well. And I kind of have to put some blame on SB Creative as well, if they didn't trust Aiming Inc., because obviously it seems like they've not given them the creative freedom to do what they want, because I have heard, from other people and from people who have spoken to the actual developers that, or not the developers, but like the middlemen to the developers effectively, that they don't get the permissions that they want in time, and it takes a long time for them to get, SB Creative and Aiming to actually get together on the same page. Why did SB Creative give the license to them if they didn't trust them enough to do so, right? And second of all, in this sort of situation, you've got to be giving them a little bit more. On the other hand, Aiming, because, well, I don't know their team very well, but it feels like they've got inexperienced people and so on and so forth. And so obviously with the state that it's in, SB Creative must be looking at Danmachi Battle Chronicle and being like, well, at least if you're making some money, just take it and run, kind of thing, right? And this is where obviously Danko is becoming a little bit of a cash grab in a way, and as much as I hate to say that these gacha games are, all about cash grabs, because that's not the case. More often than not, these are games being made, but they're also being made to generate revenue so that, they can make these games, like Genshin, Honkai Star Rail, Danmemo even to an extent, and all of these games, right, that are really well designed and made and, have a good, foundation behind it, especially story-wise or whatever it may be. They are made with love and affection, right? But the thing is, right, they also have to be a little bit predatory in the sense of it being a gacha game and getting as much money as possible so that they can actually fund these games more, basically, right? That's the whole cycle. It's kind of a very evil, and obviously the customer, us as the audience, suffer because of it, because we're kind of forced to pay so that they can continue doing this while also giving them money, and it's becoming a cash grab. You know what I mean? It kind of becomes a bit struggling, and we suffer because of it. But at the same time, I understand that, they can't do it. But it feels like, at least in the case of this game, right, where at this point they've kind of like sort of gotten frustrated with it, and we have as audiences as well have been frustrated by Danmachi Battle Chronicle. Now, obviously, SB Creative has to make a decision, and it's either you put more investment in, you actually support them, and hope that the return on investment comes over time, even if it is in a poor state right now. I never will say that there's no chance of recovery anymore, and especially in the gaming industry. I'll never say never when it comes to the recovery of a game, especially after No Man's Sky. Some of you guys know the story of No Man's Sky, where they were able to recover it and so on and so forth, but yeah. But on the other hand, they might also want to say like, okay, fuck Danmachi Battle Chronicle, let's release the Neowiz Gacha game early. That is a bigger problem to me. I think I'd rather they just help out Danmachi Battle Chronicle and just pray to God that hopefully it gets better. But on the other hand, I don't want them to rush the Neowiz Gacha game, because rushing is arguably what caused Dancro to be where it is at this moment in time. I do think that there is a very good argument and discussion to be had about the fact that Dancro might have been released too early, purely because they wanted to get a game out for the 10th anniversary of Danmachi, which I think is, if that was truly the case, we'll never know, unless one of the developers wants to, be unnamed. I'm willing to, hey, listen, if a developer from Aiming Inc. wants to slide into my emails right now and not be named, I will assure you complete anonymity, and I will give you a complete 100% guarantee that you will not be named in this video or any video that's coming up, as long as you are willing to tell me the truth about that. Because if that is the case, where SB Creative did rush them to get the game out in time for the 10th anniversary, well, there's your answer as to why it's so crap, to be quite honest, at this point in time. But on the other hand, right, if Neowiz has done the same thing, we're going to be back to square one with the Neowiz Gacha game as well. So, like, that's where I say it's a good thing as well that they're taking their time with it. But I also feel like this could cause, SB Creative to force their hand. Dancro's failures might cause SB Creative to push the Neowiz Gacha game to come out earlier. We'll have to wait and see, of course, because at the end of the day, when it comes to licensings like this and everything, the biggest controlling party is not the developer, it's the publisher, or not the publisher, but the production committee behind the IP, I should say, more so. So again, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you guys agree with me, disagree with me? I'm curious to see what you guys have to say down below regarding this entire topic. But yeah, this is something I wanted to talk about. Of course, it's been a minute since we've spoken about the Neowiz Gacha game, so I thought, a little bit of an update, of course, would be not amiss. So yeah, there you guys go. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please be sure to leave a like down below, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, take it easy, everybody. Bye-bye.